Hi knitters, welcome to the Collette Knits podcast. I'm coming at you from Scarborough, Ontario, right outside of Toronto, and this is my little knitting video vlog thing, I guess. Yeah, so to reintroduce myself, I've been knitting for about 4 or 5 years. I taught myself to knit on YouTube videos. I just saw like a cowl pattern that I really wanted to do. It was a big chunky knit, and I convinced my sister to learn how to do it with me, and she drove us to Michael's. We picked up the yarn and the needles, and I got home, I cast it on, she went out, and ever since then I've been struggling to knit and enjoying every minute of it. I don't struggle to knit so much anymore. I think I've come a pretty far way with my knitting compared to obviously when I started. That's one thing I kind of wish I had done, was keep some of those early knits to see how much I've progressed now. Now I have knit with different knitting groups, meeting people. I've joined the Toronto Knitters Guild, which has been amazing, and I've met a lot of people from there and learned a lot from that as well. I have gone to a couple of classes at local yarn stores and watched a ton of videos online. One of my favorite resources that I've used is called Knit Stars, and it's a website, and you can buy the sessions. You buy like a season, and yeah, they go all around the world and talk to different designers or you know, yarn makers, indie dyers, all that stuff, and they talk about different techniques of yarn or about knitting, and it's been a really cool experience to join the Knit Stars program. I own every single season, and the latest season coming out, I think it might be number 4. I've already pre-ordered, so when they release that will come right to my account and it'll be right there. One thing I really like about Knit Stars, this is not sponsored in any way, but one thing I really like is that you own the videos forever, so that's really cool. They do have a video on brioche with Stephen West, I believe, so that will be one that I eventually learn. I have a lot of projects on my needles that I need to finish before I start tackling brioche, but eventually I'll do that, and I'm excited for it. So, it's been a while since I last podcasted. Since my last podcast, a lot of exciting things have happened. I really meant to podcast again before I went, but on April 27th, I went to the, I should probably mention today is Monday, June 10th, which is my birthday actually, so happy birthday to me. I'm not doing a birthday cast on this year. Instead, I'm hoping to do a birthday cast off. Maybe by the end of today I'll have one project finished. That would be awesome. I have, I think, about 10 project bags hanging around the house with different projects in it, so if I can finish any of those, that would be amazing. So yeah, since my last podcast I recorded, I went to the Toronto Knitters Guild. The Toronto Knitters Frolic, hosted by the Toronto Knitters Guild. This is my first year going there as a volunteer for the Toronto Knitters Guild, because I've just joined the guild in October. But yeah, I went and I volunteered this year. That was really cool, and I really enjoyed volunteering because it kept me away from the marketplace. Even though I did do some damage in the marketplace, I did get a lot of good stuff that I had my eye on. I don't think I did any impulse buying. Maybe no, I did. But most everything I got, I have an idea for, or it's been something I've been really watching for and hoping for. I would really like to maybe next year save up and not buy much before the frolic, so that I could buy a sweater's quantity worth of stuff, or like maybe my projects for the year from the frolic, because that would be supporting some more local dyers and makers, and I would love to do that. We'll see. I think I could actually get away with not buying anything and still be good in my yarn stash for about a couple years. But anyway, here is, this is the second year that the guild did this, and they had the second year that they did this make along, where you have to, it's called destash, restash. So you make something with some yarn that you bought from a vendor from the guild, from the frolic, and you make something you bought with a vendor from there, and in hopes that you would finish it before and restash when you get there. So I finished this shawl, and this is the Junction shawl. And I actually really enjoyed it. It was a really nice knit. I knit it using a mini pack, a pack of mini skeins from Feisty Fibres. So all of these yarns were mini skeins of hers. You could use this with any mini skein set, or some scrappy yarn, or a gradient is really nice. It's called the Junction shawl, and it's a really easy pattern. On the end here is this little lace border, and I kind of wish I went further with the lace, because I did have a little bit of purple left over, but I just wasn't sure. But either way, it's really nice. So this is a really nice shawlette. I got so many compliments on it at the frolic. So many people complimented on the colors and the size, and it's so beautiful. A really nice shawl. And this is actually the first shawl I've ever knit. So I'm really happy with it. And you know what? Finishing this shawl made me really decide that I do need to put some more, get some more shawls on the needles. I think making shawls is definitely in my future. So I really, really enjoyed making that. Because I was trying so hard to get this done before the frolic. I'm not a very fast knitter, but on the subway on the way to work, I usually knit socks. This took over my sock knitting, so I was knitting this instead of socks. And I found this a very good pattern for on the train, on the bus, on the go, waiting in doctor's offices, whatever you want. Like, it was just the perfect shawl for the needles. So there might even be more Junction shawls in my future, or some more easy shawls that I can just whip out with like one skein of yarn or maybe two. So yeah, the frolic was amazing. I'm not going to show the yarn that I bought because I'd rather wait until I use the yarn before I show it off. But I did hit up, I will show one thing if it's in here. Oh, here it is. So one thing I did get from the frolic that I do want to show off is this Boston Terrier bag. I love it. And this is, I saw this and I couldn't leave without it. I have two Boston Terriers that look like this, so that was perfect. And this is a J. Hendry Design Company bag. Such a beautiful bag. The lining on the inside is so nice. You can fit a couple skeins of yarn in there, and it has the little wrist strap. So I really, really, really like this bag. I was so excited to get it. Yeah, so that's a really nice bag. And another thing I got from there was this, they have like a big raffle prize draw thing. So I got this, I put in for the raffle. I put in quite a few tickets, and what they do is they draw, you know, like 5 names every half hour or something. So I made sure to put in a lot of tickets right at the beginning, because then maybe I'd have a better chance of winning. And I did win this beautiful necklace. It was a Lisa, I'm blanking on her last name, but her first name is Lisa. And it's a beautiful chain. She had, it was a gift card that she very generously donated for the raffle prize. And she had some really, really nice nice shawl pins and necklaces, bracelets, some really beautiful stuff. Now, I did really, I did want a shawl pin, and I almost got a shawl pin, but I ended up going with this instead since I only have one shawl. I think I'm going to wait till I have a couple more shawls, and then I will do some more looking into the perfect shawl pin for some later shawls that I'll knit. But I'm really happy with this necklace. It's just a really simple chain. I might get a charm for it later, but I was really happy with that. So go check out her shop. I'll put the link down below on the down bar in the bottom of this. You'll see her shop, so I'll post that as well, and her Instagram. So yeah, I was really happy with that. And then I made a couple purchases. I got some more sock yarn for socks, some self-striping sock yarn from the Cozy Knitter. I waited a long time at Blue Brick, so I made my wait in line worth it with the amount of new Blue Brick I bought. Yeah, and so I got some other stuff, but pretty much it was a very successful frolic, and the guild just does an amazing job putting it together. And I can't wait till next year. So I really hope to fly through some stash and stock up again somewhere next year. So yeah, because I was making this shawl, and I was trying so hard to make it quickly before the frolic to add into the stash, the de-stash, restash, I kind of slacked on my sock knitting this month, for the month of April. The only thing that saved me with these socks, I did finish them, and the only thing that saved me was that right after the frolic, I had a couple days to get ready, and then myself and some friends, we flew to Las Vegas for a bachelorette party. So all of the bridesmaids went to the bachelorette party, and on the plane, I was kind of falling asleep, but I had one day left to knit these socks, and I finished them on the plane on the way to Vegas. I'm trying to knit a pair of socks a month for the year. So these were the April socks. As you can see, they've already been well loved by my boyfriend, who I made them for. I didn't block them, and I didn't really weave in my ends too good, so I'm gonna have to fix that. He doesn't really care though, but they are a little bit big on him. So right now I've been making his socks the same as mine, but I think I'm gonna have to go down a stitch count or a needle size for our socks, because we don't have as big feet as I thought we did. And I think I rushed through these really fast, so I see already looking at them some areas that I want to fix. Like up here on the bind off. These were just a toe-up sock with a fish lips kiss heel pattern, and these are with Go Cubs Go colorway from Nomadic Yarns. I'll link to her Etsy store below. And they are already well loved with lots of dog hair, so yeah, these are nice socks. It's a little too warm now to wear socks, but they're a good little gift. Yeah, and then I did the whole month of May. I finished my May socks. So these socks are for my boyfriend's mother, and she loves any color. So when I found this color in my stash, I thought she'd like it. I made these with I think it was with a Opal garden type yarn or series. These are beautiful, and you know what, they're not as soft as the Nomadic Yarns yarn, but they will hold up really well. And she can wash these in the she can wash these in the machine and lay flat to dry, which is what she does with most of her laundry anyway, so I think that will be great. These are beautiful socks. I haven't blocked them. I have never washed and blocked socks, but I think because these are a gift I will, because you can kind of see here where I've done the magic loop. And I also have to weave in some ends. So these are with same idea, just a toe up, fish lips kiss heel. These are with 64 stitches. And yeah, those are really nice. So those are my May socks finished, and I'm really happy to have those done. right in time for the beginning of June for these socks, which are living in my Zigzag Stitches bag. And this is a perfect little sock bag with the handle. I like to stand like this on the train and knit, and it's perfect. And this is with Scrumptious Pearl Stripe Me Up yarn, and this colorway is called Fall Haze, and it is so beautiful. So these stripes are Fall Haze, and her yarn comes in a gobstopper ball, which is really nice. I can just knit right from the skein. And I'm using heels, cuffs, and toes with this Lizzie Ann yarn that I got in a previous knit crate. And I think this is called, oh sorry, this is not Lizzie Ann, oops. Sorry, this is just Annie yarn. And this is called Pecan Pie. And that's what I'm doing the heels, cuffs, and toes with. And I'm really liking this color. It's a nice tonal. I will probably use it for more heels, cuffs, and toes, maybe just save it as my tonal brown yarn. So that's really nice, yeah. So I'm loving this. These socks I did with a 60 stitch count, and I think that's gonna kind of be my go-to for now on, because my mom, my boyfriend, and I, we all have roughly the same size feet. And after a little bit of stretching, the 64 stitch count socks are just a little bit too big. I'm also a fairly loose knitter, so I'm trying really hard to get gauge on this. Something that has helped would be using the these needles, the 9-inch circular. I find I get a much tighter gauge on this. And actually, I was at my uncle's house the other night, and he does not knit, but he always sees me knitting, and even he was mentioning how much nicer. He said my stitches look so nice and close together, and so even as a non-knitter, he really has noticed as well that my knitting has gotten much better. I think with all these watching podcasters and YouTubers, and even starting this own little video podcast, I do think that my knitting has gotten better, or maybe I've just been more aware of it. But yeah, I'm gonna work on those and finish those by the end of June. I really powered through them, and I had finished the whole foot, the whole toe and foot and heel in a week, which is pretty good for me. Usually it was taking me much longer, and at the end of every month I was really rushing to finish my socks. But these ones seem to be on good track, so hopefully I'll be able to whip these up. Part of that, I think, is because I did have some time off. My friend got married. I was a bridesmaid in her wedding on June 1st, last weekend, and part of that might have to do with the fact that before her wedding and after her wedding I took some days off, so I did have some extra time to knit. But I'm really hopeful that I'll finish those June socks before the end of June, so that on the last day of June I'm not rushing to finish them that night. Yeah, so that's all for finished objects and kind of works in progress. I have some other whips. I should say that's all for socks, because I'm trying really hard to finish some of these big projects that I've had on the needles for a long time. I have sweaters, baby blankets, a shawl, baby hats, blankets, lots of stuff on the needles that I would love to finish so I can start some more. So I'm trying to maybe take my closest to finished project and just finish it. So, just in time for summer, my turtle dove sweater is the closest to finished project. So this, I have finished the body and the split hem, and I'm on sleeves. So I'm on Sleeve Island, and I think what I'll do is, from this marker here is just from this morning, so maybe I'll get to the ribbing by the end of today, I'm hoping. Looking at this sweater and the weather outside, it's beautiful outside right now. You know, I kind of want to do a shorter sleeve, but I know by the time the winter comes, I'm going to wish I had a longer sleeve. So if I have enough yarn, I will do that. And I think I only have like 2 balls left of this Woolfolk Luft So I might not have enough for a super long sleeves, but maybe I'll get halfway through this sleeve and then go on to my other sleeve, wait to do the ribbing. Yeah, that might be a good idea. But I'm really enjoying this, and I'm really enjoying the fact that it's almost done. Another thing I've been working on a little bit here and there since I last podcasted has been the Helen Stewart shawl from her mystery knit along last year. And this is the Impressionist Sha. Now, I'm not sure if I showed it last time, but I will today after this put a stitch marker in to show where I was last talking about. This is my first ever lace project, and of course it's all bunched up on the needles, but this is with the colors that Helen used in her design, which is Nomadic Yarns in the it's the Volca base, which I think is like a single ply. But yeah, you can see these really pretty lace detail. This is really nice. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm so happy that I challenged myself and tried this, because this is way out of anything I had ever done before. I do think if I had looked at this shawl, it was a mystery knit along, so I joined it when it was a mystery and we were doing it by the clues, but now the mystery is way over and all the clues have been released. I do think that if I had just looked at this shawl, I would not have touched it. I don't think I would have knit it, because I would have looked at these lace sections and thought, oh, that's way too hard for me, I can't do that. But since I did clue 1 with the rest of the group, and I think clue 1 might have ended somewhere around, I think I'm on clue 3. Yeah, I think I'm on clue 3. Not that it matters, because all the clues have been released, but if I had looked at this previously, I don't think I would have actually knit it. I would have thought it was too challenging, and I'm really happy that I didn't do that and I stuck through. Because in this, she actually has all the rows written out, every single row, which is so awesome, and I think all her patterns do that. So, and then at the end of like certain rows, it tells you how much of percentage you've completed. So it tells me right now I'm about 55% through, which means I can do it. I'm more than halfway, so I can finish this. I can do this. And I'm so in love with this yarn. These, I can't remember now the names, but they're all in my Ravelry stash and pattern project page. So if you go on to Ravelry, my username is Collette Knits, the same as this podcast video, and it has all the names of these. I don't know if she's still dyeing them, but the one that's my favorite is this pink, and of course I have the least of that, but it has little flecks of different colors in it. This whitish one is really nice as well, and this purple is just beautiful. I think I'll have the most purple at the end, which is fine because I do have a plan for my leftover skeins of yarn, scraps, and mini skeins. So I'm really hoping that I have a little bit left over so I can put those in my Cozy Memories blanket, or in one of my many future vicarious knitting shawls, like not shawls, but other blankets. Like I want to do the Bits and Bobs blanket. I would love to do the Serenity blanket. Those all are with scrap yarn, mini skeins, leftover yarn. So I'd love to add those into one of those future blankets. Now, one of my my only scrappy project that I'm currently have on the needles, the rest are vicarious, I would love to put them on, but I haven't yet, is my Cozy Memories blanket. Now my Cozy Memories I started quite a few years ago, and I have been collecting minis and adding scrappy pieces. I've done a couple swaps. I used to be in the Knit Crate mini club, so a lot of my earlier minis came from there. And I really like this. This summer, we're going to go camping for a week, so I'm also trying to think of what projects to bring. I think I'm going to bring this one because it is good for the car, and it's kind of big, but it is good for the car, and it's just so relaxing. My whole family just loves this blanket. They can't wait till it's done. Now, one thing I did, which I kind of regretted, was I made it really staggered here on the bottom. So I'm trying to square this off so it will be easier to show and easier to tote around with me. But I'm really liking it. I need to weave in some ends. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this cozy memory blanket. That has been really nice. And one other thing I casted on, and I probably should have, well, no, I have no shame in casting this on. This is for social knitting because it is really fun. This is finally, first of all, let's just show off one of my new bags I got from the Frolic, Sandy by the Lakeside. This is a By the Lakeside bag. This is, I think, a Rifle Paper Co. Print with some nice gold on the inside. I have started the very famous Winslow sweater. Now this is the prize that I won from the Knitting Loft, the newest knitting store in Toronto, which is amazing. I love it. If you have not been, you have to go. I went to join them for their Sunday knit day where they sit around and they knit and they have a little cafe in there, so I drank some iced tea and everyone was very nice. I do have to say it was a very, very welcoming group of people. The owners of the store already kind of know who I am because I won this grand prize, so they're just nice. Anyway, they're nice to everybody. They're wonderful. But I bought a couple things, and the lady that was cashing me out, who I hadn't met before, she said, "Are you going to stay to knit?" And I said, "I think so." She said, "All right, let me introduce you to the group." And she came over, she did a huge introduction to the group, and everybody was so welcoming, and I did not feel out of place at all. I felt like I belonged there. So I was really happy with this knit group. Everybody's so wonderful. So this is with Clinton Hill Cashmere, the bespoke yarn. And this is the yarn that I won from the Knitting Loft, and I've just started on the bottom of the sweater. This is just a nice rib stitch, and it is so pretty on this yarn. This is such a luxurious yarn. It's really nice. So I just started with that, and I think this will just be my Knitting Loft knitting for now, for when I go to the store and knit with the ladies. I'm just in this part here. And yeah, that way they can help me as I go, because I think I will need some help with this sweater as we go. It is a beautiful sweater, but it is in pieces, and as a newer sweater garment knitter, yeah, I might need some hand holding, which I warned them, and they were very, very okay with that. So that is great. Yeah, I'm just looking at my stash behind me and my other knitting bags of projects. The other projects up there I haven't touched yet. I'm trying to finish this turtle dove sweater with the sleeves, and but I just really want to work on the Helen Stewart shawl. The only thing is my Helen Stewart shawl I cannot do unless I'm alone, because I need full concentration and I'm counting constantly. So yeah, I love it. I love every second of it. I just don't find myself reaching for it as much as I'd like to, because it takes a little extra concentration right now. One other thing I did start, didn't get very far, was my 3-color cashmere cowl. I started this right before Vegas, and my plan was to knit on this in Vegas and on the flight. And instead, I got too caught up with my socks that I had to finish that I did not touch my 3-color cashmere cowl. I actually did cast it on and then had to rip it out and recast it because my stitches were twisted. But I think that it will be a good cowl as well for knitting, social knitting, and that kind of stuff. Now this I'm knitting out of Hey Sister Yarn Co., which so sad, but they're closing up shop, so I'm going to cast on with this while I have some in my stash. This is one of their mystery monthly clubs that they had going, and it was a Pocahontas reference. I think it was Just Around the River Bend and Colors of the Wind, I think. So those will be my two main colors. This is like a peachy mauvey color. I have them all in their own little sacks so that they don't get ruined, these balls, cakes of yarn. And then this is Glamping. This will be the bigger section of the 3-color cashmere cowl if you've seen it. There's like a bigger section with a little bit of garter stitch or slip stitch eyelets maybe. There's like a deeper section in the cowl, which will be this one. And this is living in a chicken boots bag. And go figure, I'm using yarn that is going, that is closing shop, and bags that have also closed their shop. So these are my, it's kind of a nice little thing. Maybe I'll bring this as camping knitting as well. That would be a good idea. We rented an RV, and we're, well, not an RV, but like a pop-up trailer, and we're going to drive to Algonquin Park here in Ontario, Northern Ontario, and set up camp for a week with the dogs and relax and camp. Yeah. Actually, I will show off this little sack is from the sisters from the Periscoping Sisters podcast. They had a knit-along called the Lazy Ass Knitter Knit-Along, which is kind of funny. Lazy Ass Sock Knitter. And it was for all of us sock knitters that are lazy and only don't have completed socks. So you could enter single socks, you could enter pairs of socks. And I entered a couple of socks where when I just finished one, I'd enter it, and I actually won the prize, one of their prizes. So I won that little sock sack and this beautiful, beautiful project bag with campers on it. And this is from Mr. Indigo's bags. And I believe this is Amy's husband made this bag. And the inside is really nice. And it's also got magnetic closures, which is perfect because zippers tend to get stuck on stuff. And this is a skein of, it's not that bright. Oh, it looks so limey and like neon, but it's not really that bright. It's kind of like a, anyway, this is Amy. I believe it's Amy. Her one of her first skeins that she dyed herself with some Knit Picks Hawthorne fingering. So that's kind of cool. Gave me a little lavender sash, some little pins, some hand lotions, some stitch markers and buttons, some really cute stuff. And I mean, just the bag alone, like, is incredible. I love this bag. So I was really excited about that when that arrived. I messaged her right away, said, oh my god, you got me with this bag. And she said, I know, I looked through your Instagram and saw you're pretty outdoorsy, so I thought you might like that bag. And she couldn't be more right. So yeah, that is my latest knitting adventures. I hope that by the next time I podcast, I will have finished this sweater. And I'm going to really, really put an effort to finish it. And then that way I can be either, you could say I could be finished it late for winter or early for next winter. So let's go with early for next winter. That'll have one garment already finished. So for vicarious knitting, I want to, I really want to cast on some more shawls. Really have to finish some of these baby blankets. But yeah, I have some great projects on the needles that I'll hopefully finish soon. So until next time, yeah, bye-bye.